beautiful spring day in Monte Carlo. A huge crowd has gathered for the 52nd running of the Grand Prix of Monaco. There you see Ukio Katayama climbing from his Tyrrell. His Yamaha V10 engine just let go in a big way on the front straightaway. The Minardi of Pierluigi Martini is just ahead, and the footwork of Gianni Morbidelli that went out in the crash at the very first corner of this race. We are down to 17 cars unofficially of the 24 starters still in the race. That man, Michael Schumacher, leads by 28.2 seconds over the Ferrari of Gerhard Berger, with Martin Brundle's McLaren now 9 seconds behind Berger in third spot, followed by Jean Alesi, another 24 seconds back, and Christian Fittipaldi still right there in the footwork car, less than half a second behind Jean Alesi. Telemetry provided by the people at Ford Electronics. You see the accelerator position, the green line on the bottom, tours per minute, crankshaft speed, or tachometer if you like, revolutions per minute in English. Inside the green circle, the gear that Michael Schumacher is in as he flashes up the hill, never lifting on the way up, and of course the speed in kilometer per hour.
Exactly. Do you want to know? It was 100 and odd miles an hour to the top of the hill. Just about 110 miles an hour as he came up the braking area.
You raced in the famous Formula 3 race here at Monaco, Derek Bell. What's it like to come here and compete in front of these enormous crowds on one of the best-known circuits in the world?
Well, Bob, they never used to watch our race much because they held ours at 6 o'clock on the Saturday morning. But, no, it is wonderful. I mean, all the Formula 3 drivers of the world wanted to race here, and I'm sure there's a few American drivers that have raced at Monaco during the Formula 3 era, the very famous Formula 3 earlier era before it became dominated by Europeans. But it was a great circuit to race on. Of course, there's quite a lot of changes since we raced here. There's a lot more corners, and in those days it was somewhat faster.
See the wheels spinning on Eric Comas's LaRousse in the pits.
There shouldn't be a lack of... oh, there is. They've got through to each other about Hannah putting the brakes on, fella.
You notice those special sunglasses being worn by Comas. I think this might be a replay, or is that another car? Ooh, oil on the road. Michael Schumacher. Now this is Mark Blundell. He loses his Yamaha.
Yeah, his engine's really gone. He's belching stuff out, oil or water up behind him, and of course it must have made a wild moment for Schumacher there, trying to control the car, because I'm sure he couldn't see too much, let alone know where the oil was. So he did pretty well to get through that.
We'll see if we can take another look at that from inside Michael Schumacher's car. He will almost get collected here. Now you see the plume of smoke up around the corner as he goes around a slower car, and there you can see the oil right on the road.
And of course Schumacher would have a certain amount of that on his visor. As you can see, he got a fair old slide on the front there as he turned in, and only just missed the guardrail. I'm sure his heart missed a beat there, and I bet he hadn't got his foot flat on the floor all the way up the hill that time. This is very interesting. Here we have Martin Brundle about to overtake the Ferrari of Berger, and he has overtaken. Would you say it's Berger? I can't see it. Oh, there it is. It's Alesi. So they must be lapping, and Alesi must be having a problem. Alesi. Oh.
See as they make their way down to Poitiers. Martin Brundle, as you mentioned, always drives well here.
Well, I don't think he's overtaken Berger, although he was 9 seconds behind on the last lap. So Berger must have a problem if it is him, and Alesi is behind him.
I'm going to hold fire. I'm not sure that's not Gerhard Berger, although we can't get a close look at him right now. That was the car Brundle was following.
Yeah, there's Berger. That was Berger shown in that last shot.
So Gerhard Berger may have a problem.
He'll only know when he goes by the start-finish line, and we see it come up on the classement of the race. There it is.
They've given it to him already. Now there's a pit action in the Lotus pit area.
It would be incredible to see Martin Brundle pull this one off. He did so well on Thursday, as I said earlier, and had some problems yesterday, and he looked very despondent about the whole show. But today he's running like a master. It's wonderful to see. Oh, his Berger did a 1:36 that last lap, so he obviously had a major problem.
1:36. Meanwhile, Martin Brundle did a 1:26. Well ahead of the pace by race leader Michael Schumacher right now. As you see, Pedro Lamy makes his way through Sandoval. Incidentally, the Formula 3 race this year was won by Italian Giancarlo Fisichella. Just thought you wanted to know.
It was a very exciting race. There were three of them coming into the Rascasse on the last lap, and lots of smoke and banging going on and cheering, and obviously he came out in the lead.
Martin Brundle flashing through the tunnel. His wife Liz looks on from the grandstand.
Of course, the Formula 3 race years ago, and I guess it still is that, but certainly up to about 10 years ago, the Formula 3 race was the one for all the Formula 1 team managers to watch, because the stars of tomorrow came through Formula 3, as of course some of them still do.
Martin Brundle, of course, a Formula 3 driver who battled with the late Ayrton Senna. As you watch Bertrand Gachot getting bit attention. We asked Martin about his move to the front-running McLaren team.
I mean, I've come to a team that have used to Prost, Lauda, Senna, and I was terrified, frankly, it would be very difficult to do anything at all on any day that would impress them. But in fact, they're a really down-to-earth, nice bunch of guys.
Well, Martin Brundle, with whom you are now riding, has just lapped in 1:22.8, almost a full second under the pace set by Michael Schumacher, with whom he was a teammate last year. This could get interesting. Stay with us. Plenty of race fans here in Monte Carlo remember Roland Ratzenberger, 31 years of age, who died in a practice crash 2 weeks ago at the Grand Prix of San Marino. He and Ayrton Senna very much missed here this weekend at Monte Carlo. Bob Varsha, Derek Bell, and Eddie Irvine with you. There is Jean Alesi running in 4th position, 1 minute and 4 seconds behind race leader Michael Schumacher. In between, Martin Brundle is pounding around. Gerhard Berger runs in 3rd spot behind Brundle, and then this man, Jean Alesi.
Alesi actually hasn't been that fast all weekend, has he? He's been half a second or a second slower than Berger nearly all the time.
This is Gerhard Berger. Will he head for the pits? No. Crew listening intently to the radios. The drivers and engineers discuss what may be going on. Gerhard Berger was a very strong second place in this race until being run down and passed by Martin Brundle. Michael Schumacher, incidentally, has taken up Martin Brundle's challenge and just ripped off a lap at 1:21.886, just about 3 full seconds off of his qualifying pace. And he has the race in hand right now. There you see the gap from the second place McLaren of Martin Brundle back to Gerhard Berger's Ferrari.
I'm wondering just why Berger did lose so many seconds on that lap. Maybe it was some gear selection problem, but he lost, what, 18 seconds on that one lap, didn't he? Did a 39 or something. Now he's back up to pace. But of course, the other thing too, he may have grazed a guardrail that we didn't see, and it might have taken him time to get his confidence back. If ever there's a man out there that's aware of the safety out there, that's Gerhard Berger.
Both Ferrari drivers opened practice here wearing soft neck braces. You heard Eddie Irvine talk earlier about some of the neckwear being worn in some of the other teams. Ferrari now in its 54th race without a victory. They are looking for a win. Now here's Martin Brundle headed for the pits. Eddie Irvine is there.
Yep, the McLaren guys, they're going to put fuel in, change the tires. Yep, everything's going okay. Actually, Brundle's tightening his belts. He's fiddling with his belts. It must be a bit too loose or a bit too tight. They're away. Not a great stop, but not bad.
We're used to seeing 7-second stops or better from the McLaren team, but my guess here, Derek Bell, is that they're taking extra time to make sure they keep their man out there without calamity.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, that's a close move as well. No, it's very, very important tonight. I'm glad to see this speed restriction in the pit lane. It's good to see cars coming out sensibly. It's amazing how long it's taken them to get around to having some safety in the places where it really matters. It's terrible that we have to have a tragedy before the governing body take note of it all, or at least really do something about it, take action.
You see the running order after 46 laps as Bertrand Gachot in the Silver Pacific car gets passed by Martin Brundle. I think this is the same pass we saw earlier, and I called it the Simtech. They have to have a word with my spotter after this is over. There goes the Simtech following Gachot, and there goes our picture entirely.
Now we're back in the cockpit with Alesi, I believe. Oh, we were.
We are indeed. Now we're back in the Ferrari pits.
That's
Our
right.
friends from Monte Carlo must be calling a very interesting race.
They're very close to Ferrari, obviously. You'll notice that, of course, Berger's now 19 seconds ahead of Brundle, because Brundle's in fact had 2 stops. One originally for tyres. We think it might have been a slow puncture or something, and of course then secondly, just now he went in for tyres and for fuel.